All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to talk about something that might be happening inside your head, maybe even right now. It's this idea of brain rot, and it's all about how that simple, mindless act of scrolling is actually changing the way our brains are wired. So, let me ask you this. Have you ever been on your phone just scrolling, maybe 10, 20, 30 minutes go by, and then you kind of snap out of it and think, wait, what am I even doing? You weren't looking for anything, you weren't trying to find an answer, you were just scrolling. Well, there's a name for that. Psychologists call it zombie scrolling. It's this almost unconscious, aimless swiping that feels, well, it feels compulsive, like this little itch in your brain that says you have to keep doing it over and over, even when you're not really getting anything out of it. And that zombie scrolling, it's a huge driver of what people are now calling brain rot. Now, this isn't just some made-up slang. I mean, get this. In 2024, Oxford actually named it a word of the year because so many people started using it. It describes a real, noticeable drop in our mental sharpness, and it's caused by this constant diet of super easy, low-quality content we're all consuming. Do any of these sound familiar? You know that feeling when you just can't seem to focus on a tough task at work? Or you feel kind of unmotivated, maybe a little anxious for no good reason? Or, and this is a classic, you walk into a room and completely forget why you're there. These are all signs that your brain isn't really getting the workout it needs.
But here's the thing, and this is so important. This is not your fault. It's not about being lazy or having no willpower. It's about a system that has been expertly designed to hijack your brain's most fundamental reward system.
Think of it like this. It's like a magician's trick, right? The algorithm shows you all this content, and you feel like you're totally in control, that you're choosing what to watch. But really, the game is rigged. The choices you're being given have been carefully selected to do one thing: keep you hooked for as long as humanly possible. Okay, so this slide really breaks it all down. Our brains have this natural dopamine scale. Normally, we get that feel-good chemical, dopamine, after we put in some real effort. You know, after you finish a hard workout or solve a tricky problem. It feels good. It's a reward that builds real satisfaction. But social media completely hacks this system. It gives you a little hit of dopamine instantly for zero effort, just one swipe. And this creates a really nasty addiction loop. So you scroll, you see a funny video, and bam, you get a tiny little dopamine spike. But your brain loves balance, so it immediately works to cancel out that feeling. The pleasure disappears almost instantly. So what do? You scroll again, chasing that next little hit. And on it goes. Now here's where it gets a little scary. To protect itself from this constant, unnatural flood of dopamine, your brain literally starts pulling the plug on the receptors that receive it. And the result? You start to feel numb. Things that used to be fun just don't feel as good anymore, and you need more and more intense stimulation just to feel okay. That right there is brain rot in action. And listen, this isn't some rare thing affecting just a few people. In a place like Indonesia, the average person spends over 3 hours a day on social media. And let's be real, for a lot of us, it's probably even more than that, right? That is a huge chunk of our lives spent inside this dopamine loop. Okay, so that was the bad news. But here's the good news, and it's really good news. Your brain isn't set in stone. It's not like a computer chip that's fixed from day one. It's plastic. That means it can, and it does, change every single day based on what you do. The absolute best way to think about your brain is like a muscle. Seriously. If you stop using it, it gets weaker. If you only ever give it easy things to do, it gets soft. But if you challenge it, if you give it difficult problems to solve, it literally grows stronger. It builds new connections. Scientists actually proved this a while back with this amazing experiment with rats. They put one group in a super boring cage, just food and water. They put another group in what was basically Disneyland for rats, a cage filled with toys, wheels, and other rats to hang out with. And the results? They were incredible. The rats in the fun cage didn't just learn faster. Their brains physically changed. And I mean, the results were physical. You could measure them. The quote here says it all. The cortex, which is the outer layer of the brain, was literally thicker. They had more synaptic connections. And that's the stuff learning is actually made of. Their brains were literally more powerful. This whole idea has a name: neuroplasticity. It's the brain's incredible power to rewire itself. And the most important word in that definition is repetitive. The things you do again and again and again, that's what's carving the deepest pathways in your brain, for better or for worse. Mindless scrolling carves one kind of path. Deep, focused reading carves a completely different one. So we've got the diagnosis, brain rot. We know the cause, the dopamine hijack. So what's the prescription? Well, the good news is it's pretty simple. We have to actively retrain our own brains by choosing a better, more enriching environment for them. You can absolutely do this. You can intentionally build a brain that is more focused, more resilient, and yeah, smarter. And it all begins with one simple idea: swapping out all that easy, low-effort consumption for rewarding, high-effort engagement. It's time to start earning your dopamine again. So here it is, a concrete challenge for you: a 1-month dopamine detox. For just 30 days, uninstall those apps that just drain your time and attention. Then I want you to physically go to a bookstore. The effort of going is part of the process, and buy one book, any book that you are genuinely interested in. And your only mission is to read it from cover to cover and just pay attention. Notice what happens to your focus, to your mood. And I want to leave you with this quote from Albert Einstein. He said, "It's not that I'm so smart, I just stay with problems longer." He didn't think he was a genius. He thought his real superpower was just persistence. The ability to sit with a hard problem without needing an instant answer, without getting distracted. In a world that is engineered to give us everything instantly, maybe the smartest thing we can do, the best possible exercise for our brains, is to just learn how to be bored again and to stay with the problem a little bit longer.